you got to kind of know your audience. And knowing your audience means kind of looking deep inside of people here. This is old photo here, but this in this audience here, the audience here is people with hats. Do you agree? Here's my audience, people with hats. Okay. So in LinkedIn, our audience is generally found through a search. So we put things in the LinkedIn and then we get things out of it. So we put in criteria for the search. Well, what are those sort of criteria? You've seen this, everybody, right? You know, list of job titles with some stuff in between them. That's called Boolean. It goes back to the 1850s in the UK. Mr. Booley created this sort of early programming. This is really programming back in the mid 1800s. So in the context of this, there's another feature out here that's in Sales Navigator only. Now, this isn't in everything. Everyone can do Boolean. You can do it on both sides, LinkedIn or Sales Navigator. But you can only do this sort of filter where it's really simple and easy. Yeah, give me them. Yeah, give me them. Without going through this whole coding process. Okay. This is better, but this is easier. Okay. And frankly, sometimes you do a combination of both. Another thing that's nice about Sales Navigator is being able to hone in on people that either might or might not be millennials in the broad sense. I want experienced folks, or I specifically don't. I have clients that specifically don't want anyone with more than 3 years experience because they're going after a specific market. But for the most part, if you could single out folks that are brand new to the business, you usually find that makes the results a little bit better at the end. So you might kind of pick maybe 3 years or more, or 6, or 10 plus. Most of our clients do 6 plus or 10 plus. So in our criteria, we're on that bandwagon now. Where somebody is, their location matters a great deal. For most folks, this is a huge one here. Okay, so I want folks in my city. So Ben, if Ben, let's say Ben wants to do, wants to target Colorado. Well, he would have to pick, or he would pick Denver and Fort Collins and Colorado Springs and so on. You pick all the cities. In doing that, you still miss a few people. You know, you miss the folks in Canyon City because there's where the big prison is. Okay, don't sweat that. But you get the idea that if you could do more, like pick the whole state, that would be a little easier. Or if you're in a big city, I'm in San Francisco, we just want, you know, North Bay. Okay, with Sales Navigator, you can get more picky about stuff. Okay, and a big component of what I'm preaching today is being picky on who you reach out to. Okay, and then being systematic with those people you're being picky with. Another part about being picky is what size of company might you work with. You know, people at home, you know, there's a certain way to filter them out. 1 to 10 employees is the way we do that. Usually we filter them out versus in. Most folks want folks somewhere in the middle, you know, 10 to 500 or 1,000 employees, but not 3M at 200,000 and not Betty Sue here at her home desk. So Sales Navigator lets you kind of pick where in the spectrum for how big of the company you want to work for. This is the feature that gets most people saying, I got to have Sales Navigator. It's not in premium. So you get these extra features in SNAV, as we say, that you don't get in premium. This used to be part of that premium program, folks, and it's not anymore. It was stripped out of there. They kept charging $60 for it and took these features away. And this is one that they took away. One of the most important parts in the process here really is people's industries. We're whittling down all the folks on LinkedIn to find just the ones we want. And people in certain industries, you know, are more attractive than others. I don't work with government. Law enforcement means nothing to me. Jewelry means nothing to me. But computer hardware and computer software mean a lot. So but if you don't specify any industries at all, you get all of them. So you're getting babysitters and rocket scientists all in the same search unless you pick out industries. And LinkedIn is on the left, and you can see there's 5 there, and there's 147. Where are the other 142? What are their names? What do we do? I'm going to give you access to a list where you can download the industry list, and it'll be really helpful. Even on Sales Navigator, you can only see like 8 at a time here. There's 147. You scroll and scroll. The tool at the end, the site that I take you to the end, has a really nice tool for helping you guide through your industry targeting. Now you'll find in your results out there, no matter what, that there's going to be some disqualifiers. Retired people and assistants, for example. Some folks don't like franchisees. But these are ways to eliminate folks that are still on LinkedIn. They got words in their profile that qualify, but they also got words that disqualify. Not intern is another one that goes in here sometimes. Okay. This is how you scrub the list with software as best you can. You want to create searches that do the best job they can to include just the folks you want. Right state, the right industry, the right titles, all that stuff, but not the folks you don't want. And this is how you do it. Remember, we'll go back here. See, you're layering this down. Yep. You're layering that down one after another to get into something that looks like this. Okay. This is a LinkedIn search that shows you kind of how those criteria I just mentioned lay out on the big list. And this list is actually a little bit longer. There's some more criteria down below. So I'll contrast LinkedIn and Sales Navigator for you in a little bit. You can get to see it side by side. So I always get asked, all right, so that kind of, I understand the things that kind of need to be done a little bit now. I get a little bit. But what happens and when does it happen? You know, what goes first? Okay, where do you begin? What's the very start of things? Well, the very start of things is you got some settings on LinkedIn that you want to adjust. So there's privacy settings, communication settings. There's stuff to do there. Not going to get into the weeds on there, but there's about 5 or 8 things that are really important there. And those are things that you might ask me about personally. I just don't want to cover them here because it's not as important as other stuff. Your profile is super important. That's the next thing. Your settings first, and then your profile updates. And your profile needs to look good, particularly at a glance. You see this on the top up here? That's the glance, okay? You got to look good on top, because if you don't look good on top, it doesn't matter what they see down below. And in a moment here, I'll show you, well, just a moment right now, what it means in terms of your digital footprint. Look at that. You see it says Presidents, Tatera, CRM. Well, when he or anybody comments or likes or follows or posts or anything, this is what you show other people. So that's why you want to doll it up here. Make that Presidents to Terra part look really good, because that's where they're going to see it. They're not going to see the rest of the profile. The image in the back doesn't matter. That's what matters most. If there's only 2 things that you do, good picture, you know, get your name in there, right? I don't agree with Jackie Lapin over here. I put that in on purpose. Her last name is Lapin, author, speakers, get leads, get booked. You know, I don't recommend that, okay? Follow the other folks. PhD is fine. You want to be thinking when you're doing your profile about SEO, about being, you know, caught up in the searches, okay? You want people to search and find you in general, but we're not going to rely on inbound activity here. I'm not here to show you how to set up a good billboard and sit and wait for people to come to it. That's not what this is about. This is about going out to find people, but you got to look good. If you look good to SEO, you look good to people who arrive there. They want to see certain words as well. Your target audience does. Now, as you have a profile, your company has something similar. It's called a company page, and it's free. A LinkedIn company page takes less than an hour to do. Seriously, a regular everyday person who's just got a little bit of LinkedIn experience, all right, maybe a little bit more. You know, if you got 1,000 connections or more, you can do a company page. If you got 500 or more, I bet you can do it. But easy, if they walk you through it with literally with a wizard now that helps you do that. This is what a company page looks like. So you got to put an image at the top. You got to put an address in, a name. There's a little about page down here where you paste in, you know, what our company does, right from your website, or right from your profile, perhaps. You know, word it up a little bit, but you can see now all the employees at the company. So this is a client of ours. So Cetera has 177 employees. We went through and made sure that all of their employees knew how to go make sure that they count as one of those employees. There's a little trick on your profile to make sure it happens. And we went through an exercise with Cetera to make sure that happens. We also found folks at Cetera that did not belong on their profile, and that's a separate project to try to get them off of it. You know, freeloaders on my company page. So this is a really important key point here. This is a pivot. I want to ask if there's any questions thus far, because I'm going to dive into some stuff here. I don't have any sleeves to roll up because I got a short sleeve shirt, but this is a great question and answer time here. We're right at the halfway point, and it's going to get technical here. It's going to get really interesting and fun. If there's something that you don't understand enough here, please ask a question. Shane, why don't you run the board here for us? I'll look at the text here as well. Here's the chat window. Average income on LinkedIn. Average income on LinkedIn is actually going down. And the reason it's going down is because more and more people at entry-level positions are joining LinkedIn, but you're in that $60,000 to $80,000 range. The last I saw was in the 60s, but before that it was in the 80s. And it's not because people on LinkedIn are making less money, they're making more, but more entry-level workers are coming into it. And they've got $25,000, $35,000, $40,000 incomes. Really good incomes out there in general. But, you know, the executive teams, like I say, they're always out there. The lawn mowing folks that make 12 bucks an hour, they're not. Any questions from anybody thus far?
Hey, Mike, this is James. If this is not the right time for the question, just let me know. But because I have a day job and then I have my side business and they're separate entities, at some point, I'd like to hear your thoughts on how do I kind of address both of those in my profile.
Okay, so you have two current jobs on your profile. So you have one job that has when you started on that to present. You have another job when you started on that to present. And you get to decide which one goes on top and which one goes second. But you have two simultaneous jobs. You don't work it into one entry. That's a good, this is the time for those sort of questions right here. Any others I'll take? If they're in the chat window, just read them to me here.
I don't see any in the chat window, so.
Hey, Mike, why don't you talk about the importance of, or like how experienced LinkedIn users like myself, how we look at mutual connections and the importance of having 500 plus connections as opposed to being like 320, 450, 120, you know, that sort of thing.
It's a good point. I actually had that in the presentation and took it out because I didn't know if it applied, and it does. Okay, so I'll put it back in actually for next round. If you don't have 500 connections on LinkedIn, you're looked down upon as there's something inferior about you, or you're so damn important that you've really blocking things up. Bill Gates has a small network, but I'm connected to Barack Obama. I'm even connected to John McCain, the late John McCain. So there's all different sorts of thoughts on this and all. But what we do for our clients when they come on board is I invite folks that are called LinkedIn Lions. They connect to anybody. And I invite LinkedIn Lions to connect for my clients in as much in their industry or area or whatever, mostly in their area, not industry, mostly in their area. So we get them up to 500 plus connections quickly so we can start our campaign process that we're about to roll up our sleeves on and discuss here. So was there another part to that question?
I was just going to say, is there any general rules of etiquette in LinkedIn that's different from, say, I don't know, Twitter or Facebook? I mean, I've always told people this is more of a professional as opposed to, hey, look at my cat and what I ate yesterday.
Yeah, so Twitter, so Twitter and Facebook tend to be more of a posting environment where people are sharing things with people and all. LinkedIn does do that. But the stuff I'm going to talk to you about here is one-to-one. It's going into their inbox. It's not posted. These are private conversations that are had, not posts with comments and shares and likes and all that. It's a little bit different environment. So James had a question about the accountant stuff. I think I got that covered. The 500 plus, I think I got that covered. I'm going to jump into really cool stuff here. So, let me take a breath. Are you ready? Do you feel the excitement? Because it is. It's pretty exciting.